Start with reading a book. What you're going to learn today on my station, Unseen with Soon, is this very first thought that I came up with, and that was just reading a book. And in this book, we're going to review the book, and we're going to unveil suspense, love triangles, sex fantasies. This book, who's going to be unseen today, is Mr. Charles Harvey. And Mr. Charles Harvey wrote a book called Maura and Her Two Husbands. So take a seat and let's get deep. So we're dealing with a couple of characters here. We're going to start with Maura. Maura is this shy little girl who basically, when she was a child, had these sexual fantasies. She would run into these. She got a hold of this book that her sister had, and it was one of those nudie books. And in the nudie book, she would have fantasies, and she was afraid to discover these fantasies. So here we have Maura, who has these fantasies that have been going on ever since she was a child. Then we have Maura's husband, who is Sydney. Sydney, who is openly gay and admits to Maura that he has a problem. They get married anyway, and so Sydney is trying to beat the fact that he is attracted to men. Ezel, and they call him Easy. Ezel is Sydney's boyfriend, who is ghetto, is all get out. And Sydney met him at work. So in the mailroom, Ezel works in the mailroom, and Sydney basically started having a relationship with this Ezel. And Maura caught them a couple of times, but Maura wanted to stay in the relationship because she thought that she was cursed, and there was this family curse that went with her, and she needed to stay married to Sydney in order to avoid this curse. So the story is based in Texas, and Maura and Sydney are just above middle class. Their condo is worth like maybe $300,000. So in Texas, I guess that's good. So what they do is they're living this life. Sydney is behind Maura's back, seeing Ezel, and one day she comes home and she catches them in the sex act. It goes on for about months that Maura doesn't speak to him, but she still stays living in the same house, but she's living in her portion of the house. But she still doesn't want to let go of this man because she thinks that there's a family curse. So what would you do if you were in this situation? I wouldn't let some type of family curse stop me from living my life or going after my dreams, but this is the way that she is thinking. And so she continues with this lie, and she tells Ezel, Sydney's boyfriend, you need to convince him, because now Sydney wants a divorce. You need to convince him to stay in this relationship. There are some other things that go on where Sydney goes out and he gets jumped and beat up for trying to, what word am I looking for? Being a tramp, basically, going on one of these apps to get sex and be in a hotel. And he goes and he meets somebody in a hotel, and these people end up beating his ass. And so during that time, Maura convinces Ezel that it's best if they all stay together, and she's willing to accept Sydney for who he is without any repercussions. And this is where Maura gets the idea that they would be in a three-way relationship. Now let me ask you, have you ever fantasized or thought about being in a three-way relationship, and how would that look? I've thought about it, but somebody is going to be unfaithful, and you can't manage 3 different personalities, and someone's going to get bored. So, by reading this book, it opened my eyes to a lot of things, which is common sense, but it's a fantasy book. So, I just took myself out of reality and I put myself in this fantasy world and imagined what it would be like being in a 3-way relationship. So, the results of them being in this 3-way relationship, Sydney moves in from out the ghetto, the projects, and what ends up happening is he is at home all day while they go to work because he stopped working. So he stops going to work, and so he's at home all day, and he has this relationship with this woman with a baby who lives in the neighborhood. So Maura senses that something is going on. So what Maura does next, if you like this video, click share, like, and subscribe. And I'm just getting started, so I have a lot more to share when I start sharing my content. So I would like you to be a part of it, and I'm going to grow, and I want to. This is, like I said, this is the first time I'm doing this, so I'm not nervous. I'm very kind of comfortable. Yeah, I'm kind of comfortable, and so let's see. Like I said, click, like, and subscribe, and there'll be a lot more to be seen on Unseen with Soon. So now back to the book. Remember the lady that Easy was sleeping with? Maura had bugged the house since she had an inkling that something was going on. It took a while, but she finally got it. She got the pictures, and so then what she did is she put the pictures on the truck of the husband, remember, they live in Texas. So when he found out that she had been doing all these acts with a black man, he went ballistic. And so now the police were called and went to jail. And what ended up happening then is that Maura and Sydney and Ezell, they went back to sleeping in separate rooms, but Maura wanted this thing to keep working, so she decided to go on a trip to Vegas. Of course, drugs were involved when they got to Vegas, and fantasies were had, and they met another couple. Lines were crossed, sexual lines, and so people lived out their fantasies. Feelings were hurt. Babies were conceived. Crazy book. But I enjoyed it because it opened up my mind to thinking of different aspects of different other people in other people's lives. So, in closing, how would you handle being in a three-way relationship? Think about that. How would you handle being in a relationship with 2 other people, and how would that look to you? Would there be rules? Would there be any repercussions if someone did something that they weren't supposed to? Would everybody have to work? Would someone be at home? Would somebody do the cooking? That is something to think about. But I would like to say that I think that this Charles Harvey, he's won awards, but in my mind, I've never heard of any of his books. So I just want, on Unseen with Soon, I wanted to review his book. And since this was my first stab at recording, this is who was chosen. And as time goes on, I'm going to get better. You're going to listen more. And we're going to have a good old time. So until we meet again, on to the next Unseen with Soon.